Hello, welcome to SuperCoach Edge for the round 22 review and round 23 preview. Well, with just 2 weeks remaining in the SuperCoach season, we can see the finish line is in sight, and it's a welcome sight for many, especially owners of Libba, who was, of course, concussed on the weekend on a score of just 20. To make matters worse, he will, of course, miss this coming round due to concussion protocol, so there really is no respite. And Liam, I know you know all about that. As not only an owner, but also someone who captained him. So I will hand the soapbox over to you for comment.
I have no comment. I have
Best
no comment.
response.
I'll talk about it a bit later, I think. I'm still trying to come to terms with it and deal with it. Yeah, that's all I have to say. But it's very unfortunate. I mean, this is where I think we were talking about. I can't remember who it was, Joe potentially, or maybe DR last week.
Yeah.
About sort of needing like SuperCoach, wanting from SuperCoach something that can actually mitigate this risk. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm in any way suggesting that I want a player to come back on that's concussed, but like it's a change to the rules that, you know, we have to live by. And I guess you could argue, I mean, you just got to live by it with SuperCoach, and that is what it is. It is what it is. But I guess it sucks a little bit knowing that you can have that happen. But anyway, that's a rule for another day that we can talk about. But yeah, I'd love to see something sort of brought in around that might mitigate that risk for, because I think, sorry, just on that, concussion's it's not like a hamstring where, you know, if they're a player that's prone to hamstring injuries and you bring them in, well, that's the risk you take. Like concussion, I know you can be prone to concussion, but like you're not exactly prone to just like hitting your head on the ground, like, or, you know, getting collided with you in that sense, if that makes sense. But anyway,
it's a unique injury. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
yes.
absolutely.
But anyway, there was also some other injuries this week, or potential injuries, I guess we could say.
Yeah, there was the potential key injury to Docherty, who, of course, was subbed out of the game late due to what the club are calling a kick to his calf. He did look okay post-game, and the club has watered down the severity of it with his sub being merely a precautionary move. So fingers crossed we're not down yet another premium.
Yes, not what we need at this stage of the season when you're holding, what, Daicos, Libba, potentially, Docherty, Walsh.
Yeah, Walsh, yep.
If he's not back.
Yeah, countless.
Yes, plenty of injured primos at the moment. But let's move on. If you're not following us on socials, where we do post the latest news, post-match SuperCoach scores, and the odd meme or two, and just basically we can keep up to date with every single injury that is currently happening. You can do so via Twitter or X at @SuperCoach_Edge, Damon at DamoJ88, myself at Liam Evans_95, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Search SuperCoach Edge, and you'll find us there.
Very nice. Well, let's jump straight into it by kicking things off with our usual recap in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
For those new to our show, if weird time to be tuning in for the first time, but you do you. In the good, the bad, and the ugly, we roll through some of the more notable and the more forgettable performances across the round of SuperCoach. We touch on how our own teams performed, and we look at how the head-to-head rivalry is going as we wrestle for ultimate supremacy, which, I mean, I think was achieved last week when I won, but it is what it is.
Yes, it actually came from out of the box, and I predicted it. I said it was going to come. I said SuperCoach finals time is where the whips start cracking, and you know the serious stuff starts to happen. So
I don't want to preempt anything, but we can see what happens this week.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happened. Yeah, it was good. It was good, surely. So speaking of good, let's kick it off with the good. And for those coaches who are crying out for someone to step up to the plate and score over and beyond expectations, being down another premium, of course, with the injured Daicos, for those of us that just didn't have any trades, up the old sleeve to really use. Georgie boy Hewitt, good old Georgie boy. He heard the call. He saw the bat signal, or I don't know what it would be. the Georgie boy signal in the sky, because he came out and scored a whopping 142 in a scintillating performance that left owners like myself with a big old stupid grin on the face. And Liam, as an owner as well, you would have been quite pleased.
Yes, I was very pleased. Very, very useful. Now, Damon, someone reached out to us about Georgie boy, didn't they?
Yes, one of our listeners, viewers, Jack Jones on Twitter, he reached out and asked if he should roll the dice on Hewitt to score more than Mills's 80. And I said, yeah, why not? Take the punt and Georgie boy. While she's still out, he's still going to get bulk CBAs. Going to be a tough contest. And I actually just said I could see him scoring 90 plus. No way did I ever see him scoring as much as he did. But fair to say, he was a very happy camper too. So glad you came away with the points there, and hopefully it's helped you if you're in any league finals. Jack Jones, good name by the way.
Yeah,
Jack
great
Jones.
name.
Hopefully helped you along the way.
Yeah, hopefully for him that netted him a win, or just pulled him up the ranks. I don't even know.
Yeah, catapulted him.
That's it.
Kicked him up the ranks.
More like a farming. It's going to feel like that's digging a hole.
That's
probably worse.
That's more like Hodor plowing his way up against the door. No, not even, because he'd be going through the door.
Yeah. Just don't use it. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the bad. That's I mean, there was a lot of bads this week, I think, personally, but Tom Stewart is probably top of the list there in a game where he probably should have seen a very favorable matchup and grabbed bulk points, considering the Pies do concede bulk points to opposition defenders. Just look at Sicily the week before. Stewart put in probably his most putrid performance of the season with just 69 points. Obviously, going to ignore those injury-affected games for obvious reasons. But yes, in terms of scoring, just didn't get what we need from a defensive primo at this stage of the season.
Yeah. The only thing out of that, it's the old dinner for two, but it's nothing to laugh about, because it was actually a terrible score, as you mentioned. I was actually thinking of putting the VC on him at one point. Such was the favorable matchup. So
yeah,
it was actually very much around where favorable matchups didn't go to plan. Yeah, according to what the trends and data were dictating. So yeah, it wasn't to be there. But likewise in the ugly, Josh Dunkley. So he finds himself in the ugly category after a second consecutive week with a terrible score, reaching new lows on his 77 from the previous round with a season low score of just 62. And with this, I have no idea what's going on, but it's truly a head scratcher, because he still has bulk CBAs. He's got, pretty good, I guess, to okay disposal efficiency percentage. So that hasn't been dragging him down. He's just, I think, finding it hard to get his hands on the footy, and he's just in an old fashioned form slump, really. So hopefully he can turn it around. As personally, him combined with Darcy Cameron, have cost me wins in both weeks of my my personal league, cash league finals against opponents who didn't own him and didn't own Darcy Cameron. So absolutely unforgivable, especially coming from a Uber Primo, who we all kept hold of across the couple of weeks he was out, and just hasn't delivered. So come on, Dunks.
Simply not good enough.
Simply not good enough. But speaking of which, is it a segue? Perhaps. So both of how he performed on the weekend. So with regards to my own team, I ended up scoring a 2,355. So it was a bit of a mixed bag around, I think, overall for me. Was above par. Because I ended up going up 58 ranks to now sit ranked 653rd overall. So still gunning for a top 500 spot, but I think it's a little bit too late now. But I must say, in terms of the league finals, the outcome was a little less favorable. As I alluded to just before, I ended up losing 2 semis and ended up winning just 1. But most annoyingly, in both league finals I lost, I was the second highest scorer and would have beaten either of the finalists in the opposing semi-final. But the bad luck of SuperCoach finals continues, it seems, especially given one of those was my own cash league, as I said, where I finished second on the ladder and I'm now out in straight sets So it's just so annoying. I think I drew a guy that was the first week, ended up, well, I played the guy in third spot. To his credit, he beat me. But he was the guy that didn't have Dunkley, didn't have Darcy Cameron. And both of those, and no, sorry, he didn't have Sheasel. Sorry. He didn't have Sheasel, didn't have Dunks. Both those players, highly owned, scored shit. He came over the top. And then on the weekend, I think I played the team that was, I went through in sixth spot potentially outside the top four and ended up trouncing me. So it wasn't to be. But as I said before, all that, despite the data and trends really with regards to who we should put the VC and the C on, I must say that if having 2 wisdom teeth during the week wasn't painful enough, putting the captaincy on Sicily instead of the second option in English was virtually the sole difference in the margin between winning and losing that own league final that I had in my own league. And with that data and trend, it was pointing towards, and it was pretty clear, Sicily having a blinder against the Dogs, who concede the most points to opposition defenders, have now actually trumped St Kilda, and English having a downer against a stingy Hawks ruck setup. But no, of course, SuperCoach being SuperCoach, their fortunes were flipped, and that just virtually sums up the stupidness of SuperCoach at times, especially during the finals period where it's just turned on its head. And you're trying, you read the data, you almost need to read the tea leaves more than the data because it's just trends out the window, all that sort of stuff. But in terms of notable scores, as I said, Georgie Boy Hewitt, he was the saver I didn't realize I needed, alongside MJ, who scored an 89 once again in limited minutes due to Longmuir being an arsehat and just not giving him any more than 60% time on ground. Like, honestly, he is like the Paddy Dow of Freo. Like, pull your head in, you absolute muppet, Longmuir, because he's actually I rate him outside of SuperCoach. Watching him play, pretty skillful, reads the play well. Pull your head in, mate. Sheasel, he was the other one of note who bounced back nicely after a quiet game to score 135. But of course, if you want to look at the full rundown of my team, you can check out the Team Talk segment on YouTube for a closer look as we head into round 23 as I prepare for the remaining 3 prelims I'm in and edge towards a hopeful top 500 finish. So there's still a little bit for me to play for in terms of overall rank in 3 prelims, but I might be up against it in terms of my opponents because they've been able to trade out Daicos and a couple of other injured players. So see how we go. But what about you, Liam? How did you fare on the weekend? I know obviously Libba was the kind of the footnote of the round for you. Did it get worse, or was that the end?
So I'm just gonna say, simply put, this round I'm both flat and absolutely filthy. Like, I'm so frustrated because
Flat and filthy.
Like, just I was gonna pull off
fair reason.
A massive come from nowhere win in the cash league, your cash league actually. It would have sent me through the prelim, would have got me some cash. Just being a prelim winner or finalist, just making it would have been beautiful considering I have not had a great season. And it was all looking really good. I mean, there was a few things that I needed to rely on, but he was, instead of me chasing, it was him chasing. Which was a nice feeling considering I gave myself no hope. I think he had trades. Were large, weren't they? He had some big projections. He had some risky projections, I think. Like, I think some overstated projections, which meant that his score could be overinflated. Not unachievable, but just sort of riskier in the sense that the higher it is, the less likely they're going to make it. Anyway. And it was all looking very, very, very good until my captain was subbed off with a concussion for a score of just 20. Obviously, that was Libba. Had he managed to score 100, which is 15.7 points below his average for the season, so not even like a good score.
That's his floor normally. Like,
well,
that's below his floor, isn't it?
Just then, he has scored below 100 just 4 times this season, including on the weekend, which was a 20. If he had scored 100, I would have had a 20-point win. So he didn't even need to score 100. Could have scored 90. Like, I would have won.
That's the most frustrating part.
And it was against the top side in the league. So, like, in a sense, I'm like, all right, probably shouldn't have won. Like, I would have probably been a little bit harsh for him.
But that's swings and roundabouts.
But
Like with
again,
me,
swings and
I
roundabouts.
finished
Exactly.
I finished
Same
second
logic as that.
overall. He was obviously the one ahead of me, and would have been a week for the first and second place teams being bundled out and you going through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. True, true. So in terms of that, I haven't actually said what my score was. It was 2,139, which did see my ranking drop 1,792 spots to sit just inside the top 10K at 9,838th overall. So realistically at this stage, season is all but done. Not even all but done. It is just done. I don't think I've got any leagues left. Definitely no leagues involving cash or anything that's really important to me in terms of like bragging rights or anything. So that's it. That's it. No trades. I've got Walsh on the bench. I've got Libba on the bench. I've got Daicos on the bench.
Oh God, probably got more primos on the bench than you do on field.
Yeah, right now feels it. Any other issues? No, not yet. Not right now. I mean, Cogs is an issue in itself, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Like a rookie.
So yeah, not much more to report on my side. But I will give massive props to Connor Rosie, Kieran Briggs, Romo, Laird, Bont, Dawson, Sinclair, and Sheasel for turning up and doing what they could to try and get me the win. Especially I'll give Georgie Boy 142. He tried his hardest, his absolute heart out, but sometimes it's just not good enough.
It is. It's just like that. The shit thing is that Libba is a relative pod as well. The one thing is that because he's so lowly owned, chances of your opponents, even if you did go through to the finals, you would have been in a rough spot anyway. Like if you pulled off, say you weren't relying on Libba this week just gone, you pulled off the remarkable against the top place side. Libba's out for a week, so chances of your other opponent owning him
I would have
lowly owned.
I would have had no chance this week. It would just been nice to make the
prelim and just lock up some cash
and
as well.
Just lock up some cash. But again, like Libba plays, like the Bulldogs play the Eagles this week.
Yeah.
So it's like it would have been if I had made it. Like imagine that.
It's the SuperCoach guys at times. I reckon like that in itself, like West Coast now this week that Libba would have faced. It's like having a carrot and a stick, and it's like they're on your back and they have you running for the carrot that's on a stick, just dangling in front of your face. Like, oh, look what could have been. Look, it's like, and it always happens this time of year as well.
I think that's the part that's worst is like, I'm like, cool, this just killed off, like I've killed off my finals, which is fine.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I've got no trades. I'm going to be, I mean, if Walsh doesn't come back, I'm going to be relying on like Robertson, if he holds his spot.
Yeah.
Chesser. Like,
hey, Chesser.
To field a team. Because I'm already two mid primos down. And Daicos as well. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
It's just I think it rounds out. It's one of those things, and I think we always talk about this. You get to this stage of the season and it becomes tough. Like I think you know, a lot of teams probably feel it. If you're not in finals, you kind of go, if you're not in finals and you're not really up there in ranking, you're kind of going, oh, well, what's the point?
Yeah, it becomes more of a chore.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. Like I don't think I even checked it after Libba got injured. When I saw him subbed off, I was like, I don't think I only checked my ranking. I think you sent it through, and then it was like when I saw the message, I checked it.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't, waiting.
Yeah.
Normally I'm like, refreshing, like, wanting to see. But yeah. So get my weekends back.
Yeah, that's true. That's the upside, I guess, isn't it?
Be watching and analyzing, but not thinking about my team, which will be nice.
No, exactly right. I'm already at the stage, even though I'm still, which sounds stupid because even though I'm still in, as I mentioned, 3 prelims this week, I'm still like, I'm looking ahead. Like I've got like almost one eye on next year already, like looking at guys that may be selectable, like your Hayden Young getting mid-time, all that sort of stuff. Because it's like, I don't know, it's just, and I feel that that sense of, you've had a shit week, so then I feel shit as well by extension. I've like had an ordinary week. Your week puts mine into perspective. And it's just, being bundled out of finals though, like if you're ranking sliding as it is, then you get bundled out of finals. And it's like, well, if you're not playing for that and the ultimate supremacy is already long gone, Liam, what do you have to play for?
Long gone. What's the point?
Yeah.
No, I think, I don't know. There's no way of combating it for what's the name? SuperCoach. Like, there's no way of working around it.
Well, the only way is that it kind of like stems into the I uploaded the team talk late last night. I did it as a live stream just because I was pretty tired and wisdom teeth or lack thereof were hurting. So did that, and a couple jumped on and had a bit of a brief discussion about ways that you can try and similar to a lot the stuff we discussed with Joe from Centre Bounce and DR. In terms of improving the longevity of SuperCoach, and I spoke about your tiered system, and I think that's a good way of doing it. Like, I'm a massive fan of that, and I spoke about that at length, and the people that had tuned in at the time were like, I'm a really big fan of that because that's an easy, simple way for SuperCoach to keep people in the game from start to finish. Because at the moment, I'm playing AFL Fantasy, and even though I'm finding it really hard just because of the nature of the season, and it's normally you'd be able to trade your way up the ranks, even this late in the season, but because everyone has virtually the same players, it's so hard to make rank. I'm still playing it because I'm still getting that enjoyment factor out of, who do I trade in? Who do I trade out? I traded out Sheasel on the weekend, brought in Newman. Newman scored 20 more points and actually won me a final that I was in. So there's still extra skin in the game in that sense. So I don't know. People listening as well, let us know in the comment section on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter as to what your suggestions would be. If it's something you've got in mind, we'd love to hear it.
Yes, definitely. Now, looking at the head-to-head, goes as no surprise, Damon did get the win, so he sits on 18 wins to my 4 wins, with a points differential of 1,371.
Yep, that's the ultimate supremacy.
That is the ultimate supremacy.
I had to get one back on you because you beat me recently, so just had to square the ledger. Exactly. Because the ultimate supremacy across the finals, we're even at the moment. So let's play for that. We have that to play for.
Yeah, I really don't think I'm coming back.
Well, actually, true. Without Libba, that's kind of foregone conclusion. Gee whiz, SuperCoach just sucked the fun out of everything.
Literally.
The SuperCoach guides, rather. Yeah, how dare they? But Liam, now it's time to delve into the next segment where we chat a bit more sense and dollars as well in Talking Dollars and Cents.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night. I feel all right. But now I'm the big G. The girls see I've got the money. $100 bills, y'all.
So for those tuning in for the first time, this is the time where we would normally discuss all of the best potential trades and trade targets from week to week. However, with the majority of coaches, of course, now out of trades, we're going to look at one or two options across each line that you might consider for a bit of a pod. And we'll avoid the obvious highly owned players and focus on those that might give you a jump on the competition.
Yeah, I think just a note, and we'll probably note it mainly with the mids, but there's obvious options in defense. Like if you can afford to get to a Sicily, I don't know how, but if you've somehow got the cash, or you've got, enough cash to get maybe an Oliver or a Petrarca, in the mids or forwards. I don't really know if there's anyone that I can think of specifically. But if you've got that cash to do that, just do it. Like we're not like it's the obvious choice. But I think it's sometimes like we don't want to talk about that because it's obvious. And it's dime a dozen. So I think it's kind of fun to look a bit more at the pods for those that are a little bit more that way inclined. So let's kick off with the defenders. And we're going to kick off with Nick Newman, who is defender eligible, as we said, 582.5K, averaging 98.6, with a break-even of 73, and he is owned by just 4.4% of the competition. Now, he continued on with his great recent form with a score of 118 against the Ds, so that goes along with scores of 114, 106, 92, 137, 144 since round 17, and obviously the 118 on the weekend. In his last 3 rounds, he is actually the number 1 defensive option. And in the last 5, based off his, his 3-round average. And in his last five rounds, he's the number 2 defensive option. So he is in some very, very good form. And that's where you got to kind of consider it from here on out, is he's not going to finish as a top 6 defender for the season unless he pulls out like a back-to-back 300 scores or something.
Yeah.
But he is, from the point you trade him in, that's all that matters, is that he sits in that number 1 or number 2 spot, or really in that number 1 to number 6 spot. From when you trade him in. There is, though, I will say, a bit of a correlation with his higher ceiling since Walsh has been out with that hamstring injury. That has meant, we touched on this a bit, that means Doc pushed into the midfield a little bit more. With Walsh, you'd expect set to return this week. I don't know, Damon, you got any inside word there?
I haven't heard anything, so no news is good news, going by that. But I think there's rumours that Chura might be out for the season.
Okay.
So it might actually mean, if that was the case,
yes, benefit him.
Might benefit him even more so with Docherty as well.
Especially if Docherty doesn't come back this week. If he misses a week just to knock to the calf. But it's kind of crazy as to what implications that could have. But if Chera is set to miss, you'd expect that Newman gets a little bit more time, like it gets a bit more of the pie, I guess, and then he'll be hitting that ceiling a little bit more, because I think when he wasn't when Docherty was playing a little bit more in the defensive line, his scores were closer to that 100 mark than the 144, 137s.
Yeah, spot on, exactly right. And I think with the games that he's got remaining, so got Gold Coast this weekend and the Giants as well. So not exactly easy beats by any means, but I think, as you say, without Docherty being back there, there's a few dominoes to fall there. So, it's contingent upon Walsh returning, maybe. Doc, is he in, is he out? Who knows? But I think, with Chera still out of the team, I still think Docherty's going to get some ample mid-time, even if he does play. So I do like Nick Newman 100%. But let's move on to the midfield. So there's obviously, as you mentioned, Liam, plenty of strong options in the midfield, and you could consider the likes of LDU. A lot of these guys speak to themselves. Merritt, Parrish, Tom Green, low owned now that a lot of people traded him out since his injury. Petrarca, Oliver as well. He's actually surprisingly in 12% of teams, but with the scores that he's punching out, he is, a relative pod, considering that he was owned by 56.2% of the competition at one stage. Then, of course, Butters as well, who's well and truly back in form. So if you can get any of those in, 100% look at them. But we're better placed to talk about some of the pod options instead, who might be cheaper for those without much cash. So the first option is one definitely from left field, and it is Matt Crouch. And he's priced at 552.3K, averaging a 99.8 with a break-even of 84. And he is owned by 0.6%. So he's very much the forgotten brother, is Matty Crouch, and the ultimate pot of that ownership. But in his last 3 matches, he has managed scores of 144 against the Power, 112 against the Suns, and a 122 against the Lions, giving him a 3-round average of 126, which makes him the 4th best scoring mid for that period. So, it's massive risk. There's massive knock on his game, always been his disposal, but he just racks up so much of the pill that he almost negates that. And with games against the Swans at Adelaide Oval and the Eagles to round it out at Optus Stadium to close out the season, he could be the one risk to take. And just think, Texan as well, Tex Walker, he's still in the running for the Coleman. If he's delivering the ball to Tex Walker on his tit, lace out, like bulk points, if they get converted to goals. So it could be a goal fest and a goal assist type fest game for the midfielders for Adelaide in that game. Yeah.
I don't mind it. Risky. But sometimes you got to do that. Like, I don't know. If you've got no trades left. So if you've only got a couple of trades left somehow, or you got one trade left and you've got a Libba, you're going to be, I don't know what Libba actually is priced at anymore. Let me just grab that. Well, we talk 626. So he's definitely giving off well and truly a lot of cash there. But bit of a risk, but could also win you a matchup at this stage of the season. Now, onto the pod option number 2 in the midfield. It is Jai Newcomb, Duke Newcomb.
Good old Duke.
28.8K, averaging 98.4, break even of 11, and he is owned by 3.3% of the competition as it stands. The mid-season draft, I'm going to call him the steal of the mid-season draft, has put together a pretty nice season for the Hawks, but his last few weeks have been seen a nice uptick in his scoring as well, with a 119 against the Pies and a massive 174 against the Dogs on the weekend. His scoring is much more variable, I'd say, than most others, so he is a very risky option here. With his top 3 scores for the season reading 174, 121, and 119. And his bottom 3 scores reading 53, 53, and 69. 12 of his 21 games have been above the ton, and 14 of those have been 90 plus. So it's not to say that he's, poor scoring, but they're sort of high ceiling, high floor for him. So a bit more risky. Does face Melbourne and Freo at the MCG, both games at the MCG, to round out the season. But one thing to keep in mind, I guess, with Melbourne in particular, he did score 117 against them back in round 9. So it's not as though he's been scoring poorly against, stronger teams.
Yeah, and just looking, I watched a bit of the game on the weekend for the Hawks, and he was by far and away the best on ground. And there was a bit of play there. I don't know if you saw it, but Cody Waitman came up and full pelt ran at him and just bounced off his shoulder and didn't even move Jai Newcomb. He's just I reckon he should be dubbed the human meatball. He is more the human meatball than the human meatball himself. Because he's so compact and he's pretty tough, and he loves a tackle, loves a cuddle. So had 12 on the weekend as well, which is pretty interesting in itself. But I do like him definitely as an option. Moving on to the ruck. So probably no surprises here aside from, the big dogs in Marshall, English, Gawn. Luke Jackson. So spoke of him the other week, forward ruck, priced at 548.3, averaging a 96.5 with a break-even of 18. And he is owned by 9% of the competition. I'm surprised it didn't go up more than that.
Yeah.
Considering he faced the Eagles on the weekend. But Dogger Jackson is one of the former ruckmen in SuperCoach, given he is the 3rd best 3 and 5 round average of the rucks. In games where he has been the main ruck for the Dockers, he has scored 106, 119, 118, 93, 100, 87, 173, and a 124. So, at least he can crack the ton more often than not. And he has a softish draw, best of all, for the rest of the season, facing Port Adelaide, who are without ruckman. I think they called Sam Hayes, is that his name, for Port as a late inclusion. Then he was subbed out, I think he was, due to an injury. And Finlayson is the only ruck that they've got. Vicentini was an out as well, so I don't know if he's going to be coming back this week. But just imagining him up against Luke Jackson, Finlayson, Luke Jackson, geez, it's going to be tasty. And then rounds it out with a bit of a tougher, more stingier matchup against the Hawks, albeit, as we know, English scored that 143, but it is English. He has his own scoring system. But with Luke Jackson, his DPP status also means you can bring him into the forward line and use him as cover for the final round should the worst occur. But you can pretty much roll the dice. 2 weeks to go. Even if not, bring me to your ruck. Bit of a pod there that could pay off.
Yeah, I like it. I like it quite a lot. I think he's one, talking about forecasting ahead, he's one to be thinking about for next year, especially if Sean Darcy moves on from the Dockers.
100%.
I think Luke Jackson probably holds I would assume he would hold his forward status.
Yeah, hopefully.
And so would be a very juicy forward option for us F1 if I think at that stage. Now moving on to the forwards, and it is my boy and he's back here, Nick Martin, mid forward eligible, 444K,
4 times K.
4,444K. There we go. Averaging 91.4, break even of 59, owned by 5.2%. I don't know what is going on with me.
There's so many fours though. 444,000.
Yes, he
so it was 4,440.
What did I even say?
I don't know, but we knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. And just looking at that number.
444K. That's what he is. 444K. That's it.
That's it.
Bloody
it's into
hell,
the
what is
season.
wrong
It's
with
near.
me?
I can see the checkered flag, Liam. It's not a mirage. It's coming. Don't worry.
I'm past the checkered flag, I can tell you that much. And now Nick Martin, he got his roll back on the wing and his scoring benefited big time on the weekend with that score of 137. His recent scoring has been affected by a change in role, predominantly playing as that high half forward, which has limited him and his scoring in particular. But if we do cast our minds back to those games where he played predominantly on the wing, he showed us scores of 120, 129, 139, 124, 79, and 127. He has just 5.2% ownership, so could be a handy pod as Essendon do vie for a final spot as they play the Giants and the Pies. And he also has that handy DPP status, which means that he will be able to help provide cover again if the worst occurs.
Yep, I don't mind. I know you threw his name up weeks back, Liam, when we still had trades up our sleeves and thinking about him as a potential option. But he's probably in the frame for extended squad for the All-Australian as well. He's been going that well. He's talking about good. He was a mid-season draftee, was he?
No,
pre-season supplementary.
What is it? SSP or whatever it is, supplementary selection or something.
Yeah, geez, he's been up there in terms of players nabbed from that that area. But yep, I like it. I don't mind it. 5.2%. I'm surprised he's actually that highly owned.
Yes,
a bit less than that. But yeah, interesting indeed. But hopefully all those options provide you pods, which may, if you need them, in terms of just trying to differentiate your team from your opponents, if you're still in finals, can help you get over the line. But of course, look at, as we said, those big name options as well. Oliver, Butters, Petrarca, Tom Green, Parrish, Merritt, LDU. They're all good options as well.
Especially, I think, sorry, just quickly jumping in there, look at them and look at your opponent. I think look to see whether you can negate a risk there by bringing in an Oliver who, should score well. But if your opponent has Oliver, negates the risk of, him scoring massively and you not having him.
Yep. No, exactly right. It totally makes sense.
Depends on obviously how you sit. If you're likely to win the matchup, if you're not likely to win the matchup, consider that as well.
Yeah, because at this stage of the season as well, that a lot of people have similar lineups in terms of primos as well. So you may already be flush with enough primos and you really need someone left field that can really get you over the line, or you don't have the cash, as we mentioned from the top, to get to one of the pod primos. So one of these genuine pods might be able to help you. So Liam, it is time. It is time for a bit of a toot toot action. Toot toot, chugga chugga. I'm the captain now.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I thought they might have thrown you. You're like, where is he going with this? Just thought I'd mix it up. You were just expecting that I am the captain. No.
I was based off that, I'm now expecting like a feather sword.
Yeah, doing this, hot potato.
Rosie the dinosaur to come out with eating the roses. I'm a big Wiggles fan, so like I do know quite a bit.
That's what I was going to say. Geez, you're quite well versed in your Wiggles repertoire there. Don't get past you. No, you got the reference straight away.
Exactly.
Well, very
it's
good.
Just really short in.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
actually, no, don't parody my favorite song, Damon. Do not parody my favorite song.
Don't make a mockery out of one of the best charting
lyrical
songs of all time.
Genius.
Yeah, exactly right. Toot toot, chugga chugga. I'm the captain now. Should do a remix. Should do a Actually, there might be something for me to put together over the off season. We can make it. We can make it the new sting. The new sting for next year. That's an idea. But anyway, in I'm the Captain Now, we chat about, apart from Wiggles, we chat about what VC and C options you've got for the upcoming round of SuperCoach. As always, we scrounged through the data and found the best options for you to consider.
Yes. Now, this is I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's any massively great options this week
No.
in terms of historical average. I think there's some good options, some good obvious options. Tim English against the Eagles, Bont against the Eagles, that kind of thing. But I don't think there's many standouts if you're going to look at historical averages. So we're going to run through them, but we'll probably just rank them or sort of give you an idea as to whether we think they're a good pick. Now, on Friday night, we've got the Pies up against the Lions down stadium. And in that game, we've got Lachie Neale. He has an average of 99 on the dot against the Pies for scores of 102, 117, 89, 88. So nothing really to write home about there. He hasn't been in the best form either. I do like a Friday night VC.
Yep. When you nail it, it just sets up your week, and you're like, yep, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, especially when you got no trades.
That's all I need. You know what? I'm not even gonna VC this week. I'm just gonna put the C straight on someone. I'm just gonna give up. Give up on life. But yeah, I don't know whether I could do it. I don't think Lachie Neale, he's just not in, like, the form's not there. But then I also think, like,
he's due.
Yeah, like I always think when a player's like on a massive tear and has been, 150, 132, 173, like massive run, I'm always like, they're just one game closer to like their shit score. And on the flip side, I'm like, Lachie Neale's just one game closer to like a good score.
Yeah, to turning it around.
Yeah. So I think you kind of almost got the law of averages,
Yeah, it's kind of the Errol Goulden effect that we talk about, where he's done it 3 times throughout the year where he's had a down game, and we've called it each time based upon the trend. He's had a bloody an upper off the back of the downer, uppers, downers, screamers, laughers. But just quoting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But his teammate Josh Dunkley, I think he'd be very, very, very
brave man,
even if it is the VC, to put it on this man, because he's in a shit run of form at the moment. But again, you could use the same theory, Liam. He's well overdue. Prior to his previous 2 games, I think he had 1 game where he scored below a ton. Yes, that's right. My memory does serve correct. So maybe he's due. He's Stewie. So I don't know. But yeah, with Dunkley, his last 4, 84, 118, 113, 67, average 95.5. So not too favorable, as you mentioned, in terms of historical averages.
Yeah, not loving it.
Not loving it at all.
Yep. Next up, we got LDU up against Richmond on Saturday. He has an average of 105 in his last 4 against the Roos. In his last 3 against the Roos, with scores of 110, 119, and 86. What? He said
that's right. He said against the Roos, but we get
the Tigers. Oh my Lord!
The chicken flag. It's waving. It's waving. You've done all this hard work with the captaincy, so you are well
up.
No.
I'm like the guy. I'm like the divorced dad, the middle-aged divorced dad who was just given up on the. Are you
Millhouse's dad?
I'm pretty much Millhouse's dad.
I sleep
in a racing car.
Do you? No, I sleep in a big bear with my wife.
Oh. Oh, the best delivery is that. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he's like so deflated.
Yeah.
He's expecting him to say otherwise. Like, oh no, I don't have a racing car beard. Oh, you one up me. You're in racing car territory at the moment.
Pretty much.
Oh God! All right, let's move on with the next game, and it is.
Anyway, I like LDU. Do it.
Oh yeah, sorry,
nice
LDU.
VC.
Yeah, exactly. He's in red hot form, so I'd be jumping on him as a VC candidate. Zachary Merritt up against the Giants in his last 4, and this is a must-win game virtually for the Dons, and I think for the Giants as well. So high stakes here. And his last 4 against the Giants, he scored 111, 71, 131, and a 71 for an average of 96. I am a little bit worried because he copped a little bit of a tag from Curtis Taylor, it might have been, on the weekend. And I'm scared that Ward may be running with him potentially as a bit of a cooler I wish
do
they'd go to
agree.
Parish. I wish they'd go to Parish. Leave Zeret alone, please.
I do agree. I reckon I reckon it's a risk. I don't think I'd VC him, to be honest.
No.
Just based off that, I think just if he gets a good score, take it and run, but don't fret over not putting the VC on him.
No.
Moving on to the next game, and it is the Saints. I don't know who they play.
Up against Geelong.
Up against Geelong. Yes, Jack Sinclair. He's one to consider. Average of 97.75 in his last 4 against the Cats, with scores of 107, 116, 70, and 98. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't trust him.
No. To his credit, like just looking at the breakdown of scores, it hasn't been too bad. He's passed 4 games. He scored 132, 113, 99, 115, but just not quite enough for the VC or captaincy type score. So, yeah, I'd be looking elsewhere. Potentially to his teammate in Rowan Marshall. But even then, he's 4 on average against the Cats. Not too crash hot, 73.5, where he scored an 82, 96, 43, and a 73. Although he's coming off, I think it was the season high potentially on the weekend, 146. No, it was the
third best score.
Third best. Gee whiz, he's had a few big ones. So yeah, maybe look at him, but probably look elsewhere.
Yep, I agree. On the other side of the field, though, we got Tommy Stewart. He has an average of, bloody hell, 89.75 against the Saints. Seriously, what is this? With scores of 113, 48, 98, and 100. Again, like the Saints, I don't know, just after what they did to Sicily, there's that concern. I don't think Sicily and Stewart are quite in the same
ballpark.
Yeah, no. I feel like Sicily's much more damaging. Like I'd be more concerned about negating Sicily than Stewart. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be as concerned by Stewart, but his historical average against them isn't great either. So yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting game as well, because this is another game where both teams have to win virtually. More so the Cats, because they're flagging behind a fair bit. So who knows? Will Ross, as you said, flick the switch and maybe switch up, because it did work against Sicily. They got the blueprint there. Change up the forward structure and keep their systems-based structure, I guess, across the rest of the park. Who knows? But they still are conceding the third now. They've dropped the third most points to opposition defenders in the last 10 weeks anyway. Last 5 weeks, the Dogs are still far and away the most. And then, it's St Kilda actually second in more recent snapshot there. So, potentially on matchups. But again, matchups didn't work on the weekend. So they might be out the window. It's that time of year. SuperCoach finals.
It is that time of year.
Flipped on its head. So looking to the next game, and it is Adelaide up against Sydney, and Rory Laird. He's actually not too bad against Sydney. He's averaging a 109.5 in his past 4, where he scored 140, 121, 88, and an 89. So those 2 most recent scores, you'd probably hang your hat on for a decent captaincy score and lock it and load if it was.
I agree. Don't mind that. His teammate, Jordan Dawson, he's only played the Swans, his old club, 1 time for a score of 93 last season. So, yeah, I mean, he's not been in bad form, but probably not good enough to warrant a VC or a C.
That totally agree there. On the other side of the field, Errol Goulden, your boy Lamb.
Yes.
Got tagged in the weekend, unfortunately, scored a 90, but he's thereabouts. He's due for a bounce back. It always happens. He's averaging in his 2 games only against Adelaide, 107 for a 78 and 136. So a bit of a mixed bag there. But it's around about, it's the last game on Saturday. Probably one of your last chances to put the VC on someone that early, I guess, because the next game, Liam, is Western Bulldogs up against the Eagles.
Yes. And in that game, probably got one of the picks of the round, and it is Tim English. He has an average of 114.25 against the Eagles with scores of 160, 57, 108, and 132. I think he's a good option.
He is a very good option. Jackson scored all right on the weekend. And English, I don't know what it is. We've alluded to it earlier in the episode, but he's virtually being scored by different standards. I think he had, 60% hit outs to advantage, which would have helped his score. But I watched that game. He, again, played putrid, similar to like he scored when he scored a 99 or whatever it was a few weeks back against Port Adelaide. Absolutely soundly beaten in the ruck by Reeves, I think anyway, in terms of the hit-out differential. Sure, he made use of the hit-outs that he did have to advantage, but around the ground, again, did nothing. 10 possessions, took a kick in,
What
one
are
of
you
those.
talking about his kick in?
What in the world? Does Bevo have English as his captain in his SuperCoach? Why?
He must have, seriously.
The dumbest thing. It just looks so comical.
It did. It was, you know, that quote from The Simpsons when it's like the monorail episode and he's like a mule with a wheel. No one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows. I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's like no one knows how.
Mule with a
it.
spinning wheel.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's what he looked like. He was a mule with a spinning wheel.
Yeah, exactly right. He was just, I don't understand. And the clock was counting down as well to a loss, a really big loss in the context of their own finals hopes. Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like, a town with money is like a mule with a spinning wheel. No one knows how he got it, and danged if he knows how to use it.
That was Tim English with the bloody kick in. He like stepped out of the square and then he bounced immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he bounced like 3 times as well.
And as soon as he bounced the first time, I was like, you have no clue what you're doing now.
Yeah. Step left, bounced again, step right. And like, mate, just kick it.
It was also like 90 seconds left, wasn't there? Or something like that. It was so close. They were within a kick. You just put that ball down the middle.
Yeah. Big kick, big man. He should literally be the one.
But he should have been the one taking the mark.
Taking the mark. Like the ball should be being kicked to him. So I don't know. Like where down the line is he like, does he fall on the list of like kick and takers? Surely he would be like, it's like getting, and very, very topical as well, Liam, with the hat that you've got on there. With the Tillies, the Matildas getting through. Congratulations to them. But it's virtually like the goalkeeper taking a penalty in the penalty, stage, because they're normally like the last penalty taker.
Yeah.
And it's virtually English, the last person taking the kick in. Gee whiz.
But also like, this is just quite off topic now, but not off topic, but just not really SuperCoach relevant. How does Bevo not have more criticism? Like as a coach, how is there not heat not on him? He has like an insane midfield. Like he's got a decent, I mean, backline permitting, that's probably the worst of their areas.
Yeah.
But like he's got Bont, McRae, Libba.
Yep.
Bailey Smith. Tim English. He's also got,
Libba as well.
And Hagen. What's the name? Sorry,
Ugle-Hagen.
Ugle-Hagen. Like, it's not a bad.
It's actually a really good list. Yeah.
Despite how he's played one grand final in 2016. Sorry, won one grand final in 2016. Been to one other. Like,
I reckon if they miss finals, that's when the heat's going to finally come. The heat's been on him over the past couple of seasons as well, admittedly. But yeah, again, it's just kind of considering that. I mean, the heat was on, rightly so, on Voss when the Carlton were going shit, turned it around. The heat's now just gone on Simo, but he hasn't got a team to work with. Like the list at West Coast is so shit. They've got like the great divide of like the old guys and then who are now retiring, youth, by the way, and then so much youth. So he hasn't really got much to work with, but all the criticism's going on to him. And it's like, how is he escaping criticism, Bevo? Just makes
even
absolutely no sense.
Stuart Dew got cut. And I mean, obviously there's some sort of, I'm guessing there's some sort of dimmer situation in the background there. Or they think he's gettable. But like Stuart Dew was I mean, obviously not performing as well as Bevo,
Yeah.
but like I don't think they weren't doing badly. Like
No. Exactly. They were still in finals contention up until a couple of weeks ago, strangely enough, even after the reins were handed over. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But surely he's going to be next in the gun, you'd think. But Western Bulldogs fans, let us know your thoughts as well. Because I'm sure there'll be many out there that would be of the same opinion, especially after the weekend. Tim English, he is someone to definitely look at. I will definitely be looking at it. Again, just because, as we kind of alluded to before we went off into the tangent, but he scored very, very differently to other ruckmen, and I have no idea how or why, but he just is. It's so strange. He should have scored around about if I was being generous, maybe 115 at most. He was on like 120 with a minute to go, like 90 seconds to go. Ridiculous, the scaling. I don't know why he was scaled so. It was like 23 points in the last minute of the game. Was it the kick in?
The kick in. He took the kick in and then he ran.
They're like, that's impressive. Meters gained.
3 bounces.
Meters gained. Yeah,
meters gained. I think he ran sideways, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's move on to the
next guy.
Yeah, he's next.
Who is it?
And it is Lebont. And this is going to be, I think, separating most people, especially if you're in my shoes and you've got English and Bont. But I'll look at it from this way. SuperCoach aside, Bont has a prime opportunity here. West Coast aren't going to tag. I mean, they could win. They can try and win. If they win another game, they're still going to finish last, I think, potentially, maybe. I think their percentage is pretty shot compared to North. So they can win if they want.
No, if they win, will be above North based off points. Yeah,
scratch that. In that case,
they cannot win.
They cannot win. So they're not going to tag Bont. They're not going to tag any of their midfielders. Libba's not there. There's more slice of the pie to go around. A big slice of the pie. This could be a Brownlow defining game. This game, just everything's laid out in front of him. Bont is going to have a blinder. Coming off the back of a Dogs loss to Hawthorn, shouldn't have happened. Finals on the line, they need to win, and probably need to win by a fair margin to make up some percentage as well, which could prove the difference between finishing 9th or 8th. So I think all signs are pointing to Bont having a blinder. I think everything's come out Millhouse for him. He just has to grab it by the horns, and he'll have a big game. So I think, regardless, I think there's a bit of correlation there between potentially English and Bont anyway, because English is going to be tapping it down to Bont more often than not. He's not going to get a tag. O'Neill, even if he was, he's not up to it. He's a squib. Sorry. Bont is going to absolutely tear them to shreds. So for me, I'm showing my cards early here, but I reckon he is definitely by far and away the best VC in the C option. But again, having said that, you can still toss it up between English and Bont.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a coin toss between the two of them.
Should mention as well, so he's averaging 125.75 against the Eagles, and he scored a 96, 145, 156, and a 106. So I'm expecting a score of around about a 145 like he did 2 games prior.
Yep, I agree. Now moving on to the next game, and it is the D's up against the Hawks at the MCG on 3:20 on Sunday. And first up, we have Clary Oliver for those owners that still have him. He has a scores of 119, 119, 115, and 139 in his last 4 against the Hawks for an average of 123.
Yep. I don't mind him.
I'm just worried about the tag. I don't know who.
Yeah, that's very true.
Who they tag.
Again, it's the fin factor, isn't it? He's taking scalps left, right, and center, and he's making the player injured as well. That's the thing. He's injuring guys. He was on Daicos, got injured. He was on Libba, got injured. He's the Grim Reaper of SuperCoach at the moment.
Yes.
I think for me, he'll go to Oliver. Just because, I mean, he would be among the Brownlow votes on the weekend, watching him live. Clary started slow, but came really, really good and was pretty effective. Petrarca, I think for me, all he needs to do is just move forward and negate that tag. And Finn, I think, will struggle playing a super defensive I guess a traditional defensive tag if track goes up forward, which speaking of which, Petrarca, he's averaging a 128 against the Hawks. So he scored 148, 131, 108, and a 125, and he's passed 4 against them. So even then, who knows? But I think tactically, if I was in Sam Mitchell's shoes, I'd put it on Clary. Or do they do something left field and put it on Jack Viney?
That's the other one that I was thinking.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's,
I don't know.
I'm not them, but I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting one this week.
Of course, they played in round 9 as well.
Yeah.
So I might actually just go back and have a quick skim through the archives here on good old fan footy and see who actually Finn wouldn't have played then, I don't think. Well, I'll just have a quick squiz. But he, in terms of tags, there were none. No tags that I can see. So can't go.
So we can't
by
even look at that. Yep.
Previous game, but both of those boys did pretty well. Oliver, Viney, actually all three, Oliver, Viney, and Petrarca.
Yeah.
Oliver was let down by disposal efficiency, 34 disposals, 119. Viney, 149, 31 disposals, a goal. Clary kicked a goal as well, and Petrarca, 30 disposals, 2 behinds, and a 148. So, yeah, could go to any of those three, really. But I'm going to tip Clary.
Yeah, I think that's the safest tip.
He's susceptible.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on to the other side of the field in this game, we got James Sicily. Now, he's got an average of 119.75 against the Ds, with scores of 134, 116, 149, and an 80. So don't mind that either, but some people may be burned by his 96 on the weekend.
He's bound to come out and score a 160 odd because every time I put the captaincy on him, he's come out and he's done just that. So hopefully that can continue because it'll work well for my league finals. But yeah, I'm not brave enough to put the captaincy on him, which you'd probably need to. And again, could you really do it in the game where, you've got, also Clary and Trackers options? Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, I wouldn't be doing that, I don't think. But next up, we have Luke Jackson, of course, Freo facing Port Adelaide, and he's averaging a 75.75 against Port. And those past 4 scores have been 126, 94, 57, and a 26. But as we mentioned from the top, as a potential pot option during the trade segment, he is facing most likely Finlayson, 1 out. So he could have an absolute field day. Finlayson in his own right's pretty good endurance-wise. Might be able to match him, but I think Luke Jackson, and especially without Dixon being there, I think Finlayson, they kind of need an extra bit of firepower up forward with Finlayson. So I don't know, do they throw someone else into the ruck and kind of just give up on the fact that they're going to lose the hitouts? And
Luke Jackson, chuck like I don't know, don't even know who you could chuck in.
Yeah, who they got? Ollie Lord. He's a traditional forward, but
yeah, or even like I don't know, they have any tall midfielders that you can kind of just give up the ruck, but have the extra midfielder around the play.
Yeah, don't come to mind.
No.
Yeah, no.
Just chuck in the smallest bloke on the field and just call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. Just do that. It'll do.
His teammate, though, is another option, and it is Andrew Brayshaw, 134, 81, 82, and 90 in his last 4 against the Power for an average of 96.75. I don't know. I just don't trust Brayshaw.
No, I don't trust him since being an owner last year. I don't know what it is. It's just his variability in scoring potentially probably speaks for itself, but he's been scoring thereabouts, I guess. 102, which is no, against West Coast. Should have done more than that. 124 against Brisbane and then a 137 against Geelong. But a lot of mixed bag stuff, like similar to Sarong. He's kind of had some ceiling games, but they've been few and far between. So for me, I would be looking elsewhere. But then to round us out, Zachary Butters. That's me. Good old Zach Butters. He is actually back in form now. He is fit and firing, and he has gone back to back to back. 134, 137, and a 139, having faced Adelaide, Geelong, and GWS, all teams that should have been putting up a fight, vying for final spots. So I really do like him as a potential option. Although, having said that, his scoring against Freo hasn't been too favorable. Historically, he scored 70.25 as an average, and 65, 65, 75, and 76. Yeah, he likes a bit of numerology there, by the looks of it. And he's passed four
Admittedly,
against
though,
him.
that 65, the first one, came in 2020. So
Gotcha.
it is sort
Probably
of, I guess,
when he
hard
was
to
playing.
use. Yeah.
Yeah, when he's playing more up forward as opposed to playing in the midfield.
I don't mind him as a Hail Mary last option. Like,
Yeah.
keep your options open.
Yep, I do like it. Yep. If you've got him, 100%. Well, Liam, that leads us to our little captaincy head-to-head for the weekend. How do we go? How do we go on the weekend?
Yes, you had Bont, who scored 115. I had Merritt, who scored 96.
Bloody Merritt. Bloody Merritt.
Bloody Merritt. Merritt's done me dirty 2 weeks in a row.
He has. He did all of us dirty because I think he was the 70% most VC player, and for good reason. But him and the Dons, what are they doing? What are they doing?
What
Liam?
are they doing?
North, West Coast, come on.
Just
Gee whiz.
gotta make the season interesting.
Yeah.
Damon, you have the first pick this week.
Yes. So
You can't pick Bont.
I can't pick Bont. Oh no! Again, I didn't look forward. What an idiot!
Yeah.
Do I go for English? Probably. I would probably go for English. I think you just got to go with the matchup more than anything. Yeah, I'll go with English.
English.
I'll be the noble man and leave Bont to you,
Well,
just because I can't select it.
can't select him.
Exactly.
I would have done the same. If you took Bont, I would have taken English. I think it's the two most logical matchups. I don't know who I'm going to VC this week. Like in full honesty.
Oh yeah, if you're proper team, yeah.
For my proper team. Maybe I could go a Goulden on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like no one like I haven't got English, so Bont is the real option for me. And then it's I wouldn't mind Sicily, but I can't do it in that game. Like the time frame won't work.
Yeah.
And there's no one before it I really like.
I am thinking about potentially going against the grain to some respect because people will more than likely use the VC on an earlier game and roll with the C on either Bont or English because they're pretty safe options. I might flip the script and put the VC on Bont, but actually I don't know if the loops are going to work because when do the Giants play?
No, they play early.
Oh, no. Okay, that probably won't work then. Yeah, maybe
playing players.
Madden, Seamus Mitchell, potentially Marek. Constable. Yeah,
no, that's gonna work.
No, that's gonna work. So I reckon I won't be able to be silly there, unless actually would
work with Seamus is the only one that would actually work with. But you'd have to then lock in your. Yeah, you'd have to lock it in before you actually know the score.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I reckon in that case I'll probably go with I don't know, maybe a Laird, maybe.
Yeah, Laird's the other option I was considering.
Don't mind him.
Yeah, I just don't love anyone, to be honest.
Yeah, otherwise I would have probably gone, if I could do a swing, go VC on Bont, and then if he doesn't score for some reason, who knows why, doesn't score well, put the C as a bit of a Hail Mary on Petrarca in hope that he potentially avoids the fin tag, and Melbourne will come out breathing fire. But no, I think Bont and English, they should score quite well. So
as an owner of both, who do you pick? Like, who would you like? I think personally, as a non-owner, it's a coin toss.
Yeah.
Between the two.
In terms of English and Bont.
Yeah, if you obviously can only pick one.
Yeah. I think English is actually the safer option, as stupid as that sounds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because he has a high floor. Like, he's got a higher floor than Bond. And their ceilings are very, very similar.
I also don't think there's a risk with like English is going to play ruck for the game.
Mm.
Bont, if they sew it up early, maybe he gets thrown forward just to,
a few snags
play as a
and
bit of a
rest.
forward. So there's that risk. I mean, you still think he scores well because he can score well as a forward. But yeah, I think Tim English is the safer bet.
And coming down to the I guess looking at it, and this is looking at it a few layers beneath the surface, but when it comes to SuperCoach scoring, obviously the higher scaling goes to the players when the game's in the balance. So if this is a blowout game, the later the game gets, the higher the margin gets, the longer the margin gets, the disparity there. The points aren't going to be as willy-nilly. They might be more widespread potentially, unless you're someone kicking bags and bags of goals. And hit outs to advantage, I think there's more scaling points for that. So maybe it works in English's favor. But if Bond comes out firing and smashes it in the first quarter and 2 quarters or whatever and puts it to bed, he might have enough scaling points up his sleeve to go bananas. But I do like both, in all honesty. But
yeah, I don't think you'll go wrong.
Can't go wrong either way.
Yeah, I don't think you'll go wrong if you do go for Bont over English or you go English over Bont. But I don't think there's a clear cut which one you should pick. Like, I don't kick yourself if you pick the wrong one, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spot on. Well, very nice, Liam. Well, it's time now. We've got a few questions that have been sent in late. Couple of trade conundrums, stuff that we've kind of already gone over, but we might be able to just cherry pick a couple of names that they've thrown at us. And it is, Liam, in the segment, I got to know. Toot toot.
Hey, I got to know.
You can't just toot after every second.
Yes, I can do it. I damn like.
No, you can't.
I can't.
You can't show that disrespect to the Wiggles. All right.
Okay.
Jeff is gonna come get you.
Jeff's downstairs sleeping. Don't worry. On a fern.
All right. I'll get Anthony.
Oh God, not
Good
Anthony.
old Anthony to come at you. Or Murray.
Yeah.
No, Murray was the scary one. I reckon he'd.
Which one was Murray? Is it
Murray was the red one.
Red one. The red. Yeah. Actually, he had really big, like, crazy eyes.
Yeah, exactly. He'd just stare at you and freak you out. Yeah. Anyway, it's I Got to Know. And in I Got to Know, we throw it open to you, the good folk of the SuperCoach Edge community, to answer your 30 questions. And we've got 3 questions here today. And the first one is from the Duke at the Duke on
Duke
Twitter.
Nukem.
Yes, it is him. It is he. And he asks, hey fellas, Libba out and who to? I need a pod. Who is your favorite? Clary? He says Clayton Oliver. Trelaw, West Coast Eagles with no Libba. LDU, Sicily, or Houston? I think if you go... I'm going to knock people out.
Yeah.
I don't think Houston personally.
No, I'll knock out Trelaw as well.
Yep, I agree with that. I'd like Oliver if there wasn't the Finn tag coming up and just the uncertainty of that.
He actually, to his credit, he does pretty well against tags. Like, as we know, that players have tried to play for him, but this is a different kettle of fish with good old Finn. He's the human glove.
And could just, cause him to be out for the next 3 weeks. I like LDU.
Yep,
and
LDU.
Of course, we all like Sicily.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't know your side, so we don't know how you're going to fit them all in. And
what I will say is have a look at assuming, of course, the in head-to-head finals, league finals, look at who your opponent has. And I'd choose based off what player they don't have. They more than likely don't have Oliver. They might have LDU, and they probably, out of those 3 names, more than likely have Sicily. Maybe. So probably off that basis, you could be able to choose and narrow it down even further. But I think, out of those three, I like all of them. Clary, LDU.
Yeah, I don't think you'll
Sicily.
go wrong with any of them.
Yep. Clary facing Sydney as well, the last round.
Yeah.
There's no one that's going to tag. Does pretty well against the Swans from memory, just having a quick squeeze. He averages, in his last three, 125, 134, and a 156 against the Sydney Swans.
Yeah.
LDU
LDU has the Tigers and the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast and the Sun, sorry. Richmond give away a lot of points to opposition midfielders, like Libba 2 weeks ago went nuts. Bont also went nuts. Last week, who did they play last week? St Kilda, no one really there to consider. But I think there's a propensity for Richmond to give away those points to midfielders. So I think LGU could be in for a big one as well. The Suns, could go either way.
Yeah, Took might tag. He's back into his tagging role at the
Yeah.
moment. He's probably the biggest pot of the lot. LDU is in 10% of teams. Surprisingly, Sicily's in 21% of teams now. He went up a fair bit on the weekend.
And Sicily plays Melbourne and Fremantle to round out the season.
No real correlation.
No real good. I don't even think Rich Frio's a great opposition for scoring against. So I'd probably go Oliver or LDU personally. I wouldn't knock Sicily out, but I think to your point, Damon, I'd be looking at your opponent and then either looking to match if you think you've got the edge on them, just to negate a risky player like an Oliver, or look to, get yourself a pod.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I like that. Clary or LDU, flip a coin, go from there. Next up, we have a question from Bill Redman at Bill Redman 13. Last trade, again, common theme here. Cash League, Daicos 2. No, he kept Daicos even though we had a trade. Interesting. Houston, Ryan, Short, or Newman. We'll knock him out here. I
Don't
wouldn't
even
go
knock
Short.
him out, just Newman. Just do it.
Yeah, go Newman, 100%.
Sorry, not to jump in on you then, Damon, but
a bit of breaking news as well, Liam, and it's unfortunate news for both of us. Harry Mackay potentially might be making his return, miraculous return this weekend against Gold Coast. However, this is on the AFL website. Carlton will be without Sam Walsh and Adam Chera for its trip to Heritage Bank Stadium.
I hate hamstrings.
What happened to 2 to 3? What happened to 2 to 3?
It's fucking Oliver all over again.
Yeah. There pretty much goes my finals because I was hoping that Walsh was going to come back.
There goes my. I have no players left. Chesser. Yes.
He needs to pull through. Now's the time.
I want to play Chester in the last round. You know what? I don't even care. I'm going to pull off Sicily. Who gives a shit? Sicily, you're off. Yeah. Sicily, you're cut.
Yeah, you're cut. I like your style, but you're cut.
It was really hard to cut you.
But yeah, you're right. Newman, 100%. I'd rank them in terms of Newman, Houston, Ryan, and then Short potentially.
Yeah, I agree. Houston has that high floor, high ceiling. Sorry, low floor, high ceiling, like bit of variation. Newman, though, I like currently, especially knowing that Chera and Walshy definitely won't be back.
Yep. So even if Docs plays, he's going to be playing in the mid.
Yeah.
So free real estate for Newman. Free real estate, baby.
That's what you need. Now let's move on to the last question. And it is Brad Dorr at Brad Dorr4 on Twitter. Oh, one trade. Huh. But $100K to spend. Oh.
Jeez.
Playing off
holding out at us.
2 Cash League prelims. Now he asks, Daicos to track, Clary, Sicily, or other?
Or other?
So I think he's just saying, do we have a... I reckon you should trade in my boy, Campbell Chesser. Just bank the cash. Just finish the season with plenty of cash in the bank.
Yeah. Yes, no, it wouldn't do that.
Why? Chesser's going to come out and score consecutive 200s.
Yeah, maybe he will.
Double ton. Just put the
But
C
then
on him.
what are you going to do with the cash?
It doesn't matter. You're going to get double hundreds.
Oh, okay.
That's what's going to happen.
No, Brad. I
No,
think
do not do that. Please do not do that.
Track, I'm still worried about splitting time forward and mid. Clary, I like, and Sicily, yeah, as we spoke to earlier, he's good, but again, probably comes down to your head-to-head matchups and stuff. So, given you've said that you're in 2 Cash League prelims, base it off that, mate. As you said earlier, Liam, if you've got the edge and you think you can match it, bring in one of those guys that your opponent potentially has, and you can trump them. Yes, go for that. Otherwise, if you need the edge, I would rank those guys in terms of. I'm almost tempted to go back to the well with Clary. I don't know what it is. I'd go.
Yeah,
Clary.
I think I'd go. I don't
LDU
mind
I like
Clary
as well, who we spoke of earlier. So he's another option.
Yeah, I like LDU. The other option, Zach Butters.
Yep. Very good option.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
The only other one potentially is a Parish. As a bit of a pod again.
Oh, yeah.
I like him because I don't think he'll get tagged on the weekend. I think they're going to merit. He scored 122 off the top of my head, and he loves playing against the Pies. So,
oh yes, that's right.
A couple of good potential matchups.
Yeah. So we're not much help there, Brad, because we don't know what your team looks like or your opponent's teams.
But yeah, I agree with you, Damon. I'd be looking at not just your matchups this week, also look at your matchups. I mean, don't try and project ahead too much, but
yeah,
if you want to, since you've only got the one trade left, try and see if you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yep. No, I like it. Well, hopefully that helps in some way, shape, or form. Let us know what you go with as well, all of you guys, in terms of the routes you go down and how you fare. So, Liam, before we wrap things up, let's run through our SuperCoach Edge Cup group results after round 22.
Yes, our SuperCoach Edge Cup public group leader is the carryover leader yet again with Adam, and he has his team all too hard. He scored 2,376 on the weekend, and he held his spot in 11th overall, so he is very close to the top 10 there. Hopefully we can see him jump in feet first.
Yeah, head first, feet first, somersaulting, backflipping, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Top scorer for the round was Cameron with the team Sabrosa with a score of 2,552 with a round rank of 76 and an overall rank of 10,056. So nice round score there, Cameron. And also, Liam, a quick shout out to our father-in-law who texted through and said, my dud team did well this round. Ranked 38th overall, scored 2,573.
Oh, wow. Massive.
So tip of the cap to him.
Very, very good there. Now for our Patreon exclusive group, do we need? Let's just record ourselves saying this.
Yeah.
T Prostitutes Inc. Jonas Goat yet again. He was not the round top scorer. He was just the top. He's currently the leader. That's the word.
That's the one.
I've checked out.
Yep.
Round score of 2,234. He is ranked overall 493rd. Now, Damon, last week, you had to make up, I can't remember how many points it was.
I think it was 200
and something.
10 or something. 200.
Yeah, it was 212 or
212. That's the one.
212.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Damon, we were like, you were like, Jonas Goat, he's got both hands on the cup. He's wearing the hat. He has got, I don't even know, he's got the winner's sash on.
Yep.
He's on the top of the dace. He is he's shaking the champagne bottle.
Yeah.
It's going everywhere. That's how done this is.
Exactly.
But Damon, you made up 21 points on him this week. 121 points.
That is news to me because I didn't actually. I must admit, this is, in all honesty, I forgot about this.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been watching this.
This is almost the ultimate supremacy matchup, Liam.
This is almost the ultimate supremacy matchup.
This is like a bit of it. He's tag teamed. He's like, you've tagged him in. This is the old school WCW type stuff, and you got me off the turnbuckle, and you're about to take me out, and then all of a sudden, I deflect, and I got back 121 points, and then just going to come back. 91
right.
points behind.
You got
Liam.
91 points. I was just
in my own
I
little
was just
fantasy
letting
there.
you live your own dream there. So anyway, 91 points behind. You've got 2 weeks to make up 91 points. So what's that? 45 and 46 points in the next 2 weeks. Could you do it? Could you do the unthinkable and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? I don't know if that's really the saying here, but just
I don't know what that noise was, but yeah. I think yes, I can now. I think I'm a little bit more bullish, you could say, because to make up 212 points, whatever it was, over 3 weeks was like the unthinkable. But I know he did mention that he copped a 0, or at least he's copping zeros now. So he's in a bit of a free fall. He was ranked pretty well. I'm ranked 653rd. He's ranked 493rd, as you said.
So you're not too far off.
Not too far away. The point differential is, yes, it's 91. So look, I'm just doing numbers in my head here. I'm just literally reading them off a screen.
If he's getting a 0, you're probably going to catch him this week, I'd say.
I'm trying. Oh no, he's got Libba as well. It's all over. He's got Libba. Who's going to miss this week? No, he didn't cop a 0. Was he pulling our leg? Oh, he had to play Chin Cotter. That's what it was. So it was a virtual 0. But how did he score that low? Interesting. I don't know. Libba, I guess that's but now I guess the prophecy that what he was talking about has now been prophesized, because he's going to be copping a 0 now.
Yeah. With
Libba, because he's got Sharp on the bench, Constable and Drury. He can swing Taron Thomas into the midfield. So you're not too bad. You're actually well stocked. You're well stocked in terms of depth.
Okay, so there's no risk.
We're still on.
Not no risk. There's less risk.
Less risk. So we're still on for our ultimate supremacy matchup, Liam.
All right. I'm gonna be barracking for.
I'm a bit like Goldberg, WCW style. I'm doing a bit of a head down. I'm scratching the mat with my foot, and I'm about to like spear tackle him into the turf. So let's see if that eventuates, or again, if he just blocks me and then just, turns it around on me and just, gives me the old tombstone or something. Who knows? Sorry, I just went off into my little fantasy there again.
No worries. The highest weekly score, though, of 2,379 in the Patreon exclusive group went to Matthew with his team Ton 618.
Very nice. Matt there.
Damon, do you want to run through the Patreon exclusive SuperCoach Edge Cash League and the second week of finals?
Yes.
Third week of finals.
Yes, we're into the third week now, but the results from the second week,
I don't even know what day it is.
You just went into a different dimension then. You literally went into, I'm going to have to like freeze frame that. Being waved, Liam. You're completely dazed. I think you've been like spear tackled. No wonder you've tagged bloody Jonas Goat. But anyway, yes, with regards to the results, which was the second week of finals, I ended up defeating the sharpshooters. Brett, who finished second overall, was my score of 2,355, defeating sharpshooters Brett 2,149. And then in the other semi-final, it was Ton 618, Matthew, who we spoke of, ended up with that big top score of the league with 2,379, defeating Black on White, Scott Arthur, who scored 2,324. So that was a hard-fought game. And what? All well and good. We're very appreciative of this. But if you're going to watch the vodcast at any one time, this could not be incentive enough. Go to YouTube, check it out, check out the time code right now, because Liam has lost it. He's got purple on the face. The delirium is on an absolutely different dimension. a different level. He is, I don't know where Liam is, but wherever he's gone, I want to go there. I want to be there. If it means that I need to cop a 20 from one of my players in order to get there, sign me up. Sign me up indeed. I'll continue on with the show because Liam just cannot breathe almost. His face is purple and he's shaking his head. This is what SuperCoach does to us, folks, this time of year. It sends us into an absolute spiral. It's good. I mean, hey, what's the saying? If you don't laugh, you cry. So you've got to laugh, and that's the point. Or you could just go delirious, like you're going at the moment.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Very good. So to both of those teams, Ton 618 Matthew and the Sharpshooters of Brett, they proceed through to the prelim. And because I faced off against the Sharpshooters, who finished second, as is this wacky setup goes with the 8-man league, I went straight through to the grand final. So I will face the winner of that prelim between Sharpshooters and Matthew. So Sharpshooters, you're still in it, mate. You got the second chance. So Matthew, you got to go through in straight sets virtually. You've got to go through all the way. Can he do it? Can he go undefeated across the entire final series and dethrone me? And I will just remind people as well, in this league, and we've discussed it, Liam, off air, and we've agreed that if either of us was to win the league, because there is cash at stake, we are exempt from the cash. We're not allowed to touch it. So we will be rewarding the people that have supported us across the journey. So you just have to find out what it is. So for those people that have been knocked out, you're just going to have to barrack for me. So this is like an easy way for me to get bandwagon supporters and cheerleaders, et cetera, on the sidelines for me.
I'm barracking for... No, I have to wait till next week to see who I barrack for.
Yeah, exactly. You can't play favourites here.
No.
Because everyone has been great supporters of us in this Patreon league
I hope they both
last year
win.
and this year. Yeah.
I hope they draw and then they knock you out of finals somehow.
I don't think that can happen, but I like
the
idea.
They draw and they knock you out of finals.
Okay.
If that happens, it resurrects me somehow into finals.
Oh, okay. Well, they'll be facing up against you then in that case.
Yeah, exactly.
For the ultimate supremacy. But all the best, of course, the Sharpshooters, Brett and Matthew with his team.
Should be a good matchup, that one.
Very, very even, I think. Sharpshooters had a bit of a down week, so I caught him on a very, very bad week for him and a good week for me. So maybe that's where all my luck went in my other leagues. They went towards this league. But yeah, as I said, if I end up winning, Liam, everyone in the league will be rewarded. So I guess, yeah.
Stop trying to make friends. Stop trying to buy friends.
Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of at that stage. I've just got to open my wallet and just be like, just got to be on my side. I need supporters because everyone's going to be supporting.
Why? I'm barracking for everyone.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm barracking for you, but I'm actually not.
Yeah, I'm literally barracking for everyone because I'm barracking for myself to win because then everyone wins. So I guess whoever faces off against me, even if they lose, they win.
That is true. Yes.
That is true. They just yeah.
So basically, we've just incentivized everyone to just not win.
Yes.
We're breeding mediocrity in this league.
No, we're not. no, we're not. Because there is extra incentive because if they win, they get the entire cash pool. Whereas
everyone else misses out.
Everyone else misses out. Exactly. So that's okay, I see what you mean. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show, Liam. What a way to end it.
I just bringing chaos.
Yeah, bringing chaos, exactly. Throwing a cat amongst the pigeons, all that sort of stuff. But before we go, Liam, where can our listeners find us across our socials? And where can they find us primarily on YouTube in order to watch your absolute delirium, which will be clipped up?
I'm going to start again.
I don't even know what set it off. I'm going to have to rewind the tape.
I don't know what set it off either.
It was good, though. It was good.
Lost it.
Yeah.
YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. Search SuperCoach Edge, and don't forget to like and subscribe. On Twitter or X, we're at SuperCoach.
There we go.
I need to turn your video off. I can't look at you.
It's my face. I know it's very funny.
Twitter or X. Search at SuperCoach_Edge. You'll find us there. Damon at DamoJ88. Myself at Liam Evans_95. Why are you laughing at me? What have I done now? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, search SuperCoach Edge, and you'll find us there. I think there's one thing we should be proud of, though, Damon, now that I just realized.
What's up?
We got a whole episode through without talking about billionaires.
Oh, we did too. Oh, well, that's a good segue, Liam, because... Speaking of billionaires, though, did you know that they're both going to fight?
Are they?
They're
both actually doing this?
Yeah, they're doing it. And apparently...
cage match.
Yeah. Apparently he spoke to someone high up in India, some politician in India. And I was like, what do India have to do with this? To like host the event or something? I have no idea, but he's just speaking shit. They're going to wipe the floor with good old Elon Musk, and the Lizard Man's just going to come out triumphant.
Does the robot, the cyborg, or the lizard win?
Lizard, 100%. As I said, all he needs to do is just like lick him with like his wet tongue and short circuit his like mainframe, and he's going to be when he's going to power down. They should come out like robot suits, or like come out dressed as like in those fat sumos.
Oh, suits. Yeah, okay, that would be good too.
Oh, what? Oh, with the
when Homer pretended to be a robot in like the robot.
Oh yeah, robot
fighting,
wars or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like been beaten up and sawn in half almost. But yeah, it's very good. But anyway, that's enough of a tangent on billionaires.
Yes.
As always, Liam, as you alluded to, if you love the content we provide, make sure to let us know by subscribing to our YouTube channel and help us in our pursuit of hitting 1K, which pretty much is a foregone conclusion. Won't happen this season, unfortunately, but we do nonetheless appreciate all the support that we've had across the season thus far. But if you haven't subscribed, there's incentive to do so, because we'll give you I don't know, what can we give people? Give you a shout out. Hey, every person that subscribes, that's listening to this, watching this, haven't subscribed, let us know in the comment section below. We'll give you a shout out next episode. How about that? Bit of an extra incentive. And Liam, we'll promise that Liam's going to be extra delirious. And you know what? I might even off the back of that, you give me an idea. I might time code your deliriousness in the description in YouTube, so people can just like, they don't even have to watch the whole episode, because I know people listening to it were like, I just want to see Liam's face. Go to the description on YouTube. Click. It's happening again. It's happening again. They only come at night.
I'm trying really hard not to lose it again.
They mostly come at night. Mostly. This Aliens reference. But
Liam,
that is it for another episode. And
thank God.
Thank God. It's been a mammoth episode. We've dragged it out more than probably what it needed to be, but hopefully it was entertaining enough for you kind folk that tune in from week to week. And 2 more weeks to go, Liam. The checkered flag's already in sight, but for you, it's behind you. It's waved in front of your face. You are just...
I'm done.
You were gone. You were down, out for the count. So we'll see how delirious you are next. Hopefully your deliriousness is ramped up week on week. So you've got 2 more weeks to go. I can't wait to see the level of deliriousness you're going to be in round 24. Going to be a thing of beauty.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to get more delirious.
You say that now?
I say that now, but I
just you wait.
I really don't think I will. But let's see.
It says as he swallows the laughter and hiccups. But anyway, thanks as always for tuning in. All the best for the round ahead and for finals, of course. And we'll catch you same time, same place. We'll see you then. We'll see you then, Liam.
Good luck, guys. See you then.
Adios. Here you go. You can rest now, Liam.
Oh my Lord.
Rest your weary head.